Have you ever felt like a failure and felt like you wasn't doing what you would like to do right? In this video, we're going to talk about how to work with your failure rather than against it. And when you work with your failure, you are literally teaching people from your mistakes. You're literally helping people from the things that you have experienced. You're literally helping people from the challenges that you have overcame. Failure is not the end all be all. In fact, the definition of failure is the lack of success. You don't have lack of success. You just learning how to gain that success. What's going on, everybody? My name is Terrell Humphrey. Welcome to the Phase Knowledge Podcast. My name is Terrell Humphrey again. And if this is your first time here, just know you're in the right place because today we're talking about failure. Failure isn't bad. Failure is actually a lesson that will help you learn what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how to do it more consistently. So if you're new to here, go ahead and grab your pen, grab your notebook, and we're going to get started with this. So first thing first, let me share my screen. Working with your failure consists of this. Point number one is that you have to be okay with trying. And I say be okay with trying, excuse me, because a lot of people don't even like to try. There's a book called Grit. And in this book, it explains, that's not, hold on. It look like irt. Hold on, grit. And in this book, this is a book. It talks about how a lot of people don't have the belief within themselves because some people have a fixed mindset, some people have a growth mindset, and the difference between a fixed versus growth mindset is opportunity. Opportunity exists, but if you don't understand the opportunity that's right in front of you, there will be no opportunity. Over the last half a decade, I produced over 893 podcast episodes. And throughout this journey, I've been documenting what's been working, what's not been working, and what I can be better at as a business owner. In addition to that, as I start to understand what I was doing, everything that I start to understand from came from me trying. You see, opportunity exists only if I show up. I have to be okay with showing up, and as I start to be okay with showing up, I have to learn how to do it consistently. You see, opportunity comes from commitment. The more committed I am, the more I'll be able to grow. The more committed I am, the more I'll be able to establish a business. The more committed I am, the more I'll be able to help others. You see, it's not just about working with your failure. It's learning that everything that you are going to do, you're not going to be great at. When I started podcasting a half a decade ago, I was not that good. But I knew if I showed up, hold on. If I showed up, something, I don't know what, but something will happen. And what that consists of is this. You see, when I started a podcast, I thought the way I was talking, the way I was communicating, the way I was showing up was a failure. But in reality, I was learning how to show up, but the lack of success, that's the definition of failure. The lack of success is not showing up. The lack of success is not getting better. The lack of success is getting in my head and saying, I'm not good at this. It doesn't matter if you're not good at it. What does matter is that you have to work with your failure. I've learned how to work with the failure because the failure that I've gained have taught me so many different things. Failure is knowledge because you literally are learning what you are doing. You can read a book. Hold on. This is a book. You can read a book. You could go to a class. This is the teacher or professor. That's what professor because I'm in college. And then these are the students. These are students. You see, it doesn't matter how you learn. What matters is that you can learn. Hold on. As I started to understand more about business, not only just for the podcast production, how we help real estate developers build their brand through podcasting, it's more so of an opportunity that came from me learning what I was doing. Learning never stops. To work with your failure, you have to be okay with trying. You can't get better if you don't try. Excuse me. You can't get better if you don't show up. You can't get better if you're not okay with messing up. You see, there's been many times I've messed up throughout my journey, but I didn't let that failure stop me. I didn't let that mistake stop me. I didn't let that moment of uncertainty stop me from pushing forward. To get into business, there's a lot of things that has to be taken into consideration. I had to learn how to sell, or learning how to sell, learning how to market. Hold on. That will look right. Sales, learning how to market, learning how to follow up, learning systems, and just learning. You see, there's so many pieces. These are called pieces. I think I spelled that wrong. PICES. There's so many pieces that goes into business, but I tell you, if I wasn't okay with failure, if I wasn't working with the failure, I wouldn't be where I am today. Understanding how to go about helping others build their brand through podcasting comes from you showing your expertise. Comes from you showing how to connect with others. Comes from you showing that you have created some success, that you've had some success. The people who have failed are the ones who are trying. Just because you have failed doesn't mean you are a failure. What it means is that you're learning how to gain the success. The definition of failure is the lack of success. And success can be defined in many different ways. In fact, the definition of success, I don't even know what the definition is, because I want to look it up. Right now. Hold on. I'm going to look it up as a matter of fact. All right, so the definition of success is this. I'm gonna do the simple definition, because the difficult success. Simple definition. All right, the definition of success is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, the good or bad outcome of an undertaking. Okay. That's what I mean. Like, sometimes you gotta do more research. Anywho, it say a person or thing that achieves desired aims or attains fame, wealth, etc. The accomplishment of an aim. So the accomplishment of a goal. So anywho, with that being said, now that we know what the definition of success is, it's the accomplishment of a goal. You see, just because you have lack of success or failure, it just means it ain't supposed to be hacked. Lack of success or failure, that just means that you have to learn what you're doing. You see, education comes in different forms. Education comes in different ways. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to read books, but you have to be educated to the point where you understand what you're doing. It took me a long time to understand what I was doing, but it was the time that I was putting into myself to learn how to do it. You see, time doesn't stop. It keeps moving. Working with your failure is learning that everything that you're doing, you're literally learning how to do it. I'm learning how to play the piano right now. And I have to learn the keys, have to learn the pattern, have to learn how to go from left to right, how to play with both hands, how to hear the sound of the keys when I mess up, when I don't mess up. You see, everything takes practice. You can't be good if you're not bad. You can't be good if you're not okay with being bad. You see, the reason why I say this is because anytime you do something, you're going to be bad at it. I've been podcasting for a half a decade. When I started, I was bad at it. But I kept getting better. I kept doing it. I kept improving. And eventually, I will be able to have the business. But it's learning that everything that you do is kind of like a step to growth. This right here is a step to growth. A step to growth. In order for me to grow, I have to be okay with failure. I have to be okay with trying. I have to be okay with learning. You see, when I learn how to do better, I have to be okay with trying. I can't get good if I'm not bad. Michael Jackson said he got a song with he don't got a song called "Who's Bad." It's not the fact that you're a bad person. It's just that you're bad at doing the skill. I was bad at podcasting. Then I learned how to have a podcast production company, and I'm helping others with their podcasts. But first, I had to help myself with my podcast. Working with my failure helped me learn faster. It's kind of like you on a race. And this path that you are on, this is other people. Let's go and put others. This right here is me. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's experience is different. Everyone's moment is different than the next moment. But when you learn how to work with the failure, you're not learning how to work with the excuses. You're learning how to get back up and do it again. There was a quote by Bruce Lee, and he was like, "Don't be afraid of the person who practiced 10,000 kicks." He said, be afraid of the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. Why? Because this person is trying to focus. When you focus on your goal, when you focus on everything that you're doing, you are going to fail. Failure is not bad. Failure is not a punishment. Failure is literally you putting yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, you have to be okay with no results. The definition of failure is the lack of success. And it say lack of results, it say lack of success. And the definition of success is to achieve a goal. If you haven't achieved a goal, that doesn't mean you're not successful. What it means is that you have to set goals. Hold on. You have to set. Hold on. That looks crazy. You have to set goals that you can achieve. And you set goals that you know you can achieve because this is something that you would like to do. You don't know that you can achieve it until you try. That goes to what we're talking about. You gotta be okay with trying. If you're not trying something, how do you know you're bad at it? How do you know you can't be good at it? How do you know that you can't be good at it? Hold on. It's not the fact that failure stops a lot of people. It's more so that the not trying, the thought of failure, the lack of belief. You don't have to be and know everything, but what you do have to do is be okay with trying. You're going to fail. I recognized a long time ago that I'm going to fail. And I'm like, how can I fail faster? How can I get to a point where I fail, but I'm not just failing because I'm not doing anything? No. I'm failing because I'm failing at a faster pace than anybody else. For instance, when I got into business and I started understanding everything that I was doing, went to different events, different conferences, all these different things. I'm like, how can I start applying the information today? What do I need today in order for me to understand how to implement the information that I just got? I was okay with failure. because that failure gave me knowledge. Okay with failure because it gave me knowledge. The definition of failure is the lack of success. The definition of success is achieving goals. But what if you start to set goals around what you would like to do? That's the next point we're gonna hit on. Just you have to set small goals. You gotta start collecting small wins. Set small goals. And the reason why I say this is point number 2 is because goals can appear differently. Like for me, I have a massive goal to help a million people launch their podcast with confidence. 1 million people is 1,100,000. It's 1 million people. So instead of me helping 1 million people today, what if I just help 50 people, or rather 50 real estate developers grow their podcast? What if I narrow my goal down to 50 people, and then 100 people, and then 200 people, and then 300 people? You see, I'm breaking my goal down so I can be able to accomplish it. I learned this method was called the SMART method, and this method helps you break down your goal to the point where you can actually achieve something. The definition of failure is the lack of success. The definition of success is achieving goals. You have to attain a goal. You have to achieve a goal. But in order for you to achieve a goal, first you got to be okay with failure. First you got to be okay with trying. When you try to accomplish this goal that you're looking to reach, it's not going to be easy. But it is possible. And with that, my goal being helping 50 real estate developers build their brand through podcasting. Well, where do I start? First, I got to get my first customer. First customer brings second customer. You see, I'm not trying to skip the steps. I'm trying to work the steps. I'm trying to work with the failure rather than against it, because when I work with the failure, I learn how to be and understand everything that I'm doing. I don't let the failure stop me. I let the failure encourage me. The failure is something that we all have to experience. But if we're not experiencing a failure, we're not even trying. You see, the failure creates opportunities. But before the opportunities, nothing's going to come until you start showing up consistently. I recognize after producing 893 podcast episodes, when I go to different places, different rooms, different events, I'm showing up because I'm there to learn something. In addition to that, I'm bringing something to the table. When I bring something to the table, I'm learning how to set goals. You see, small wins, small goals lead to small wins. Small goals equals small wins. And in order for me to win, I have to start with a small goal. My goals and dreams are really big, but if I don't break it down, I'm going to get overwhelmed. I'm going to feel like I can't do it. I'm going to quit along the process. But what if I just really focus on everything that I'm doing? You see, setting goals is creating a path for you. Setting a goal is creating a path for me. Just because I'm on this path doesn't mean that I'm going to fail. What it means is that as I'm on my path, I have to work with the failure as it comes up. You see, the path consists of different moments where failure appears. It only appears because I'm trying. Okay. As I try, I learn. In the podcast production space, it's more than just about pressing record. It's literally everything that happens after the recording stops. How do you build your brand if you're not building the brand in the right place? Your brand is what people connect with. I had a call yesterday, and no. Matter of fact, my wife and I went to an event, and it was like people start to do research as soon as they input their information, and they go research about you. They go learn more about you. Go watch your videos, all these different things. And then when he said that, I'm like, it made sense, but it made sense in a different way, because not people when people. Oh man, now it makes sense. Oh man, hold on. You see, this is a moment of pivotalness because people research you after they meet you. People researches. Hold on. Let me get this right. People research people. And if you don't have a brand that can speak for yourself, that can speak for you, that can speak for everything that you're doing, oh my goodness, it just clicked. It just resonated so bad because I knew what I needed to do. Over the years, as I got educated on what to do, I understand why it's important to do it. People are not following you because of today. People are following you. People are doing business with you. People are working with you based off your previous success. You see, failure is the lack of success. If you're not trying, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you don't have history for people to go learn more about. It just made a lot more sense now. It literally just made a lot of sense now. Building a brand is not just about today. Building a brand is literally a daily activity that has to be worked on, because when people start to research you, they want to learn more about you. As they learn more about you, you have your podcast for them to come and learn more about you. It's not just about your podcast. It's literally about your brand. Everybody has a brand, yet everyone is not comfortable with the brand that they are building. This was good. You see, this was good because it gave me a concept. It gave me a different perspective. You see, my wife got a presentation. She's talking about brand and all these different things. And when I was growing up, I used to be a sneakerhead. I used to love so many. I used to want so many different pairs of shoes. In fact, I wanted this. When they had the little boxes like that, and then they had the little shoes, the box, the shoes, box. Hold on. You see, I wanted to have a lot of pair of shoes, but I'll tell you this. The shoes wasn't the thing that I wanted. I wanted to be a part of the brand. You see, the brand was that if I have a lot of different pairs of shoes, I'm a part of a community. The brand builds community based off what you have. Based off what you have. You see, when you have that brand, you have something people want to connect with. A sneakerhead love shoes. And I used to want a house full of shoes. I'm talking about people online would literally have basements, warehouses just for shoes. And I'm like, ooh, one day I'll be able to do that. One day I'll be able to have a lot of different pairs of shoes. But in reality, what happened for me is that I'm like, man, these shoes are getting expensive. These shoes are costing a little bit too much for me. And it's costing a little bit too much because the prices are steady going up. I remember I bought my first pair of Jordans. It was the Oxidized 14s. And those, I thought those shoes were so hard because I paid my own money with that. You see, the money that I paid with that was more than just joining a brand. It was literally like, man, I've been wanting these pair of shoes, these pair of Jordans for a long time. In reality, I just wanted to be a part of everyone else who had a whole bunch of shoes. And when I bought them shoes, hold on. When I bought them shoes, I had a goal. Talk about a goal with the shoes. I had a goal with the shoes. And it was to purchase them. It gave me that small win, but when you build your brand, people are working with you. Branding helps people work with you. And it finally makes sense now. It's not just about making videos online, having conversations, communicating with other folks. It's literally building my brand. And so the way we help ourselves is the way we help our clients, is the way we are going to help our clients. Because it's not just about pressing recording. It's not just about editing the videos. It's literally about giving you what is it called? Giving you brand equity. In other words, giving you credibility. Having something online builds your credibility. Having something in general builds your credibility. I'm having a lot of thoughts come to my mind because it finally makes sense now. It finally makes sense now. Credibility builds your brand. The more credible you are, the more awards you have, the more things that you have done. When people start to research you, they can go down a tunnel, go down a journey to learn more about you. Oh man, this is perfect timing. Last point that I'm going to hit on is this. Last point that I'm going to hit on, this, and I wasn't going to even hit on this point, but this point just made a lot of sense. Do not count numbers. Hold on. Do not count. Hold on. Let me just write this. Hold on. I'm gonna rewrite this. Point number one. Last point we're gonna talk about is this. Be okay with growth. That's the last point we're gonna talk about. Be okay with growth. And I say be okay with growth because the first 2 points that we talked about was this. First point that we talked about is that you have to be okay with trying. Next point that we talked about is that you have to set small goals. Third point that we're going to talk about, last point, is that you have to be okay with growth. Just because you failed does not mean you are a failure. What it means is that you are learning. You are growing. You are growing. You are building. You are evolving. The man I am today is not the man I was a half a decade ago. Because I just had to grow. I had some maturing to do. I had some learning to do. I had some development to do. It doesn't matter the work that you do today. What matters is that you continue to do the work. And then when people come encounter with you today, tomorrow, next year, next month, they can go back into history, into your build up to learn more about you. This made a lot of more sense today because it's not just about building a brand. It's not just about being online. It's not just about just having a podcast. It's literally about building your credibility. When you failed, you become credible. And then when you gain, oh, they don't even look like win. When you gain success, you become credible. When you are consistent, you become credible. Why am I saying all this? Okay. You have to be okay with growth. And what I'm saying is this. When I started my podcast a half a decade ago, I was just trying to do it. I was just doing it for myself. I was learning. I was growing. I was learning about business. I was bringing you along the journey. I was documenting the journey. But as I talk about what I do, I'm not just talking about it from a book. Yes, I got a lot of books back here. I watch a lot of podcasts. In fact, I watched one this morning, watched one yesterday, watched one the day before. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is this. I have history of what I've been doing and how I've been doing it. And when I include the failures, the lessons, the knowledge, the growth, the involvement, the development, the level of understanding, the level of business, it's like I'm constantly evolving, but I'm evolving from what I've done, what I've been doing. And if you would see me today, I'm a lot different. If you were to see the equipment that I have today, it's a lot different. If you were to see how I come onto camera versus how I started, it's a lot different. But when I started, I was learning how to build my brand. You see, the brand wasn't a thing, wasn't a concept. I didn't even know it was a business. Nonetheless, as I continue to build on top of my lessons, on top of my failures, on top of my growth, I've evolved as a person, as a business owner, and as a man. You see, it takes time to develop, but as I'm developing, I'm creating credibility. I'm building credibility. For instance, I wrote a book, just looked at the book, and it's called Master Your Mind, and it's called Master Your Mind, 10 tips to shift your mindset. Then check this out. I was like, ooh, okay. A lot of people talk about, and this is on Amazon. You can get this on Amazon for like a couple dollars. And when I wrote the book from my experience. Now I'm like, okay, a lot of people talk about, shout out to Andre. I'm actually do a podcast with him one day. But he was like that he wrote a book to get speaking engagements. I'm like, ooh, I like that. So what I did, I sat down, started to write the book. I'm like, I'm trying to get speaking engagements. And when I wrote the book, I went through the whole process. The draft, worked with the editor came, he gave me feedback and all these different things. It was a process. It was a hard process. Nonetheless, I still went through it. A couple years passed by, I was like, a lot of people talk about making their first $100,000, but they forget how they made that first $100,000. I was like, I don't want to forget that. I want to literally document the process, but create a documentary around the process that I've been doing, and which I did. This documentary is called Starting with a Dream. And that is on YouTube. Why does this matter? This matters This matters because I am becoming credible. And as I become credible through podcasting, my brand is being built. My brand, what I stand for, what I've done, what I've accomplished is speaking for me because now I can refer back to it. Building your brand don't start today. I even watched a documentary with the movie about Nike on how back in the day before Jordan got his shoe deal, he literally was an athlete and he was about to go to the league, all these different things. In the movie, they literally showed the process. Yes, this might look like just a Nike sign. In fact, it might not even come out good. It might just look like a Nike sign. But this is a brand. This is a brand. But before it became a brand, it was just a logo. You see, before the logo speaks for you, you got to speak for yourself. Branding is not just about a logo. I don't even think the Nike sign is the right place or the right direction. But anywho, I don't think it's the right direction. I'm going to drop both of them. So whatever way it is, it's that way. Nonetheless, they have history. They have results. They have credibility. They have growth. But in the beginning, they had to show the process. And I was like, oh, we're showing the process. Because now, when I get in front of people and I start talking about things that I've accomplished, things that I've tried, things that that went good, that didn't go good, I can literally refer back to it and say, hey, actually, my first book, Master Your Mind, 10 Tips to Read Your Mind, to Master Your Mind, 10 Tips to Shift Your Mindset, is actually published. You can go read it. Then, if you want to watch the journey of documenting my journey, go watch the documentary on YouTube, starting with the Dream documentary. Why am I saying this? Because it started to build my brand. So when you build your brand through podcasting, you are literally showing your expertise, but what you're building today is not for today. It's literally for the future. Because when you come encounter with other people, people are going to start to see what you've done and why you're doing that and how they can start working with you even more. It's a process to build your brand. On the contrary, as you build your brand, you're building that credibility. So in conclusion, topics that we talked about today was work with your failure rather than against it. The first point was to be okay with trying. You have to learn how to try. You have to learn how to do something. You have to try something. The second point that we talked about is that you have to set small goals. And when you start to win, you start to build your confidence. And as you start to build your confidence, you start to understand what you are doing. Last point that we talked about is that you have to be okay with growth. It doesn't happen overnight, yet it can happen over time, but you have to be okay with developing, because as you develop, you build your credibility, you build your brand, and most importantly, you build your business. If you're someone that's growing, your business is growing, what you're doing, and it's looking for the right place to come, this YouTube channel, this podcast, this stream, Failure's Knowledge is just for you. So make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe, because we're not just talking about the successes. Successes is to achieve a goal. We're talking about the failures. The meaning of failure is the lack of success. When we understand that we have lack of success because we're not setting the right goals, we can literally turn that failure into knowledge. So hit that follow button, hit that subscribe. Lastly, don't be afraid to fail. Because you never know what that failure is going to teach you, because failure is knowledge. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next one. That was good. That was good. That's right there. That was good.